Good afternoon, everybody. As you heard, my name is Raila Odinga. To the family, to Karen, to the friends, the colleagues, and fellow mourners, good afternoon once again. Many people knew George as Baba's bodyguard. But to us, he was not just Baba's aide. He was our brother. He was a true hero, taking care of Jacom and the family, saving our lives more time than we could count. There were medals for honor, loyalty and honor. George would have a wall for him. And so that's how I remember you, George. Cool, calm, collected, a man of true loyalty and honor, saving our world one day at a time. To Karen, thank you for lending him to us over the years and graciously supporting us through all our trials and tribulations. As you've heard, I am not reading my own tribute to George. It's in the eulogy book. You can read it. Today I'm here in a capacity to read it on behalf of my mother, Dr. Raila Odinga. So here we go. I'm regrettably unable to be here today. George Oduor, who has united us in grief these past few days, and whose name we gather here today, spent his teenage life in my home and grew up in my hands. I was privileged to see him transition from a boy to becoming a man, a strong man. As years passed and turned into decades of being a constant presence in our lives, George stopped being our employee. He became our son. His life and struggles became our life and struggles, just like ours became his. He became everyone's protecting the family and a rock around Baba. George's presence around Baba gave all of us comfort that all was well. Despite the disappearance of lines between him and us, George insisted on letting the lines be, to maintain the respect he had for his boss and for the rest of the family. As respectful as George was, he was also honest, trustworthy, reliable, alert, and focused. I remain deeply proud of the man George turned out to be, growing and changing with the changing circumstances of his boss, and ending his life as a dignified, respected, and fiercely professional security officer, who ably navigated spaces between the high and mighty, as well as the low and oppressed in society, always giving everyone the respect that they deserve. It is my hope that George could be an example to many young people trying to navigate their way in spaces similar to where George started. It is my hope that George's life could be a lesson to such young people that discipline, hard work, and focus pay. If someone asked me, as many are silently asking, did George get what he wanted from his life? My answer would be a solid yes. George liked the work. He liked the work and the man he was working for. I believe his greatest disappointment would have been to see Jacom struggling, campaigning, denied victory, being tear-gassed, and doing anything else without him. George believed in his boss, but more importantly, he completely believed in the possible outcome of the struggle his boss was waging. He may have been a bodyguard, tasked with no more than the personal safety of his boss, but George saw himself as part of something bigger. Not just for Baba, but for the country. He believed he was a freedom and liberating fighter, and that Kenya would need a liberation, which he believed his boss would deliver. I am sure George died satisfied that he did his part, and I am sure that given another chance, George would pick the struggle from where life cut him short. May God grant him mercy.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa WINNIE. Allow me now to invite a fine gentleman to the congregation. I hope you can hear me. My name is Raila Odinga Jr. and it's an honor and a privilege to stand here to read out the tribute of His Excellency Raila Odinga. George Oduor. In the field of dealing with diverse groups, of masses of politicians as destined to. Certain aides create a mark that is hard to forget through professionalism, commitment, integrity, and character. That was George Oduor, my long-term personal security officer who died on Wednesday. George officially became my bodyguard in 1995. By that time, he had been involved with us as part of the youth team in the Forum for Restoration of Democracy and provided security for Raila Odinga and the whole leadership. When hope split between Jaramogi and Kenneth Matimba, George easily picked sides and stayed with Jaramogi. He became part of the youth team that operated from Ajib House and provided security for core Kenyan leaders that included Jaramogi, Paul Mwite, Wamala Kijana, and James Orengo, among others. He was part of the youth team that steered Ford Kenya to the 1992 multi-party elections and the tumultuous period of elections that followed. He was present in Burundi, Nyabwara against Akidi Wawire, who had just defected to Kano. He was in Bonchari by-elections, where Protest Manyani had defected to DP, from DP to Kano. In Diwa, Migori, Nyatike, where Tom Obondo, Charles Owino, and Ochola Oduor had defected from Port Kenya to Kano. In his roles as part of the opposition vote protection team, John ran into trouble with the authorities a couple of times. After the fierce battle against Kanu in Nyatike by-election, George, current CS of Pio Wandai, and other youth were arrested and arraigned in court in Kiti. He had earlier been arrested for following the Niwa by-election. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the tribute goes on and on. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to read the whole thing. But in the interest of time, I'll summarize it. Mama, by saying, Mama, thank you very much for allowing George to be part of us, part of our family. We cherished him, we loved him as a brother, as a family. Jacob appreciated George so much. He was a rock that Jacob could rely on, and his presence will be missed forever. I think asanteni sana. Thank you all.
Well, let's appreciate Junior once more for the summary. Allow me now to call upon the family of His Excellency Engineer Dr. Raila Odinga. The family is represented here ably, kindly Rosemary, kindly Raila Odinga Jr., and kindly Honorable WINNIE Odinga, please.
Good afternoon, church, the family, friends. My name is Raila Odinga. With me are my two siblings.
I think you know. I think you already know. So Rosemary will read on our behalf.
I just want to say their names and hear their voices. as themselves. Once again, they nominated me to speak on behalf of them. I have there's a speech they said they should talk on their behalf as well. I can't read it very well. I'm sorry, I might but I'll just speak off the cuff. We've known Georgie for several years. As testimony of those who've spoken before us, you can see the political wing, his personal family. But over here, I've also come with a greater, larger family of the Odingas and the Oduors. So could the Odinga family please stand up, those of you who are here? Just wait. I saw them here. And for your family, please stand up. Most of them, of course, are waiting back at home to receive Georgie. Georgie has been in us for very many years. And the person who introduced us to Georgie was our late brother Fidel. The two of them were very close together. Very, very, very close. And I'm sure if we say you can have what you see them. Some of us here grew up with Georgie. For example, WINNIE. You heard that Georgie came in the 90s. I think it was about 2 years old back then. And you know, Georgie, we grew up really much in Georgie's hands. When we used to go to school, Georgie was there. When we came back from school again, Georgie was there. When we who had traveled, came back, Georgie helped introduce us back to the world. Nairobi and village again. The people are not here, the people in their home. Those who work in their home, the workers in the home are not here. But Georgie used to coordinate all of us. In a room like this, when it's time to go, everyone would just look at each other, then turn to look at Georgie and we know it's time to stand up in the room. It taught us to protect not only ourselves, but also those who work for us. So it did not just be a worker in the home, we were like a family member. You protected us, but you are also responsible to you and to your family, and of course to the greater country of Kenya. So that is who Georgie was to us. We miss this very clearly. Before we left, Georgie and I went to India together with my dad. He insisted that Georgie must go with us. And our friends in India called me to ask me how was Georgie. 2 days before he left us, the administrator from the hospital called me to ask me, how is Mr. Georgie doing? And 2 days after that, sadly Georgie had left us. And I could not even gather the courage to tell him that Georgie was not with us anymore. I also got a call from the UK, right? And also from the US, because Georgie traveled with Baba all over, even as far as Nigeria. Phone calls from all over asking, is it true that Georgie did this? Because Georgie had friends not just here in Kenya, but all over the world as well. And I'm sure this. I thank you all, to his wife and the family. For Lady Sana, we will stand with you, and I'm sure you will also stand with us. The Sankini Sana Church, and God bless you so.
May we appreciate the family of His Excellency Dr. Odinga once more. Thank you very much. Without much ado then, allow me to now invite Karen Auma Oduor, the wife of George, to come forward for the tribute. I know Victor had done something, but please do come forward, and may the assistants come with her.